Welcome. My name is Cordelia Istel, and I'm Director of Organizing at Arts for LA. Thank you so much for joining us for this video training. Today, we are talking about submitting public comment at your school board meeting, hopefully your next school board meeting. Before we get into it, let's quickly break down what we're talking about when we say submitting public comment and who we're talking about when we talk about the school board, right? So every school district in California and in LA County has a group of elected officials that are the leaders of your school district that make key decisions about budget and priorities. They are known as your school board. They're also sometimes known as your Board of Education. And they hold regular meetings. Usually every 2 to 3 weeks, the group of elected leaders in your school district will come together and have a meeting. At that meeting, community members are allowed and encouraged to make their voice heard. Those comments are known as public comments, right? So when we talk about submitting public comment at your school board meeting, hopefully the very next school board meeting held in your district, we're talking about making your voice heard as an arts advocate and as a constituent, as a member of your educational community. It's critical to the movement for equitable arts education and so important for everyone to be involved in their school district's decision-making process. So we're going to walk through how you make public comment, how you make an effective public comment, and a couple other details you need to know to be an effective arts advocate. So there are 5 basic steps to making public comment at your school board meeting. The first, which I find often the most difficult, is finding the information about when the next school board meeting is happening in your district. This is the date, this is the time, and in this age of digital events, this is how you join, using a Zoom link, at what time, and the key other steps you might need to know in order to make public comment. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is actually preparing your public comment. What are you going to say? And this can be the most intimidating step for many people, but I want to assure you, you do not need to be an expert to submit public comment to make your voice heard. You simply need to know how to tell your story, and we will break down a very simple way to do that and to do it well. The third step is to sign up to give public comment, or to find a way to submit it in advance if you can't actually make the date and time of the meeting. The next step is to attend the public meeting, right? To make a plan, to make sure you're ready to show up to the school board meeting and make public comment. And then the last part is, once you're there, take a deep breath and tell your story. And it's that simple. Those 5 simple steps will allow you to submit public comment at your, hopefully, the next school board meeting in your district and be an effective arts advocate. All right, let's get into it a little more. Finding the meeting info. Like I said, I think this can be the most difficult step. So I'm just going to give you some general tips and advice for finding out when, where the meeting is going to be and how you can join it. This is going to vary from district to district. Every school district does it a little bit differently. I wish I could give a simple one-size-fits-all description of how to join this meeting and submit public comment, but unfortunately, again, it varies. So I'm just going to give you a couple key tips that will hopefully help you find the date, time, and information about the next school board meeting in your district. The first step, like so many things in our age, is to Google it. Right? Google the name of your school district, and the website for your school district should pop up. Once you've found the homepage of your school district's website, you're going to be looking for 2 potential terms, right? You're going to be looking for school board or Board of Education. Your school district might refer to that group of elected officials who make decisions about the budget and priorities of your school district as the school board. And if you see that school board, you want to click that. They might also be called the Board of Education. If you see Board of Education, you want to click that. Once you click those 2 terms, you'll be taken to a page with more information about who your school board is. Who are these people who are making these decisions, as well as information about the next time they are meeting. So you'll see an option like budget, or you'll see an option like school board agendas, school board meetings, school board meeting dates and times, and that's what you want to click. Once you get to that next page, you'll probably see some information about the next date of the school board meeting. Sometimes there won't be any more information about how you as a community member can join that meeting to give public comment. And if that's the case, don't panic. What I recommend doing is clicking the agenda, right? The agenda for the meeting you want to speak at. That is often where the information about how to join the meeting is kept, right? Sometimes you'll have to email someone in advance of the meeting to sign up for public comment. Sometimes you'll be able to submit a public comment via email in advance. And sometimes you have to show up at the date and time of the meeting. And again, in this digital age, show up digitally to give public comment live. And it's just going to depend on the school district you're advocating in. But again, Google your school district, look for Board of Education or school board, find the date and time of the next school board or Board of Education meeting, and then find the how to log on information often in the agenda. All right, again, that's the hardest step. On to the fun and slightly easier part. Step 2, prepping your public comment. Okay, so it's really easy to feel like you don't have the expertise to be an effective arts advocate in your school district or your educational community. And let me assure you, once again, that is not true. You do not need to be an expert to give public comment. You just need to answer 5 simple questions to structure a really effective public comment and make your voice heard. So those 5 questions are simple, right? All you need to do is answer these questions. 1, who are you? 2, what do you want the school board to do? 3, why do you care? 4, why should everyone else care? And 5, why is this issue important now? Again, 5 simple questions. If you take a couple minutes to write down your answers for each of these questions, you will have a really effective, impactful public comment basically done. All right, so let's get into some examples about what this might look and sound like. So number 1, who are you? This is really simple. We're talking 1 sentence. It's an intro. What's your name, right? The other thing you want to be sure to include is your role in the district, right? So this could sound like, hi, my name is Cordelia, and I'm a student in LA Unified School District, right? It could sound like, hi, my name is Cordelia, and I'm a parent in Burbank Unified School District. It could sound like, hi, my name is Cordelia, and I'm a teaching artist and community member here in El Monte Unified School District, right? So again, you're just saying who you are and what your role is within the district. Number 2, the second question you need to answer to craft a really effective public comment is, what do you want the school board to do, right? We also can think of this as the ask. What are you asking them to do? Now, we want this to be timely, we want this to be specific, and we want this to be actionable, right? So an example of this might be, I'm here today to talk to you about increasing arts funding in this year's local control and accountability plan. And if you don't know what a local control and accountability plan is, that's fine. Head to Arts for LA's website, and we have a whole bunch of resources breaking down what that is and why it's important to advocate for increased arts funding in those local control and accountability plans. But this could sound also like, I'm here today to ask for more art classes in my high school, right? It could also sound like, I'm here today to ask that you hire 3 additional music teachers for elementary school in our school district. It could sound as general as, I'm here today to ask that you meaningfully include the arts in your planning for the coming year, right? So this is, again, what you're asking the school board to do. Now, all that matters is that it's specific and that they can actually take action on it, right? And I'm just going to repeat this example on the slide. I'm here today to ask you to increase arts funding in this year's local control and accountability plan. Question number 3, you need to answer to create a really effective public comment is, why do you care, right? Why do you care about this issue? Why do you care about what you're asking the school board to do? And this is really where it's important to bring in your story, to make it specific, to make it personal, and to make it authentic. You do not need to be an expert to do this work as an advocate. You just need to be able to tell your story clearly and in a compelling way. So many of these examples are taken from Arts for LA's community members through our listening and strategy sessions with members of the creative community across the region. We've heard so many stories over the past months and years about why arts education is important. And a lot of these examples are taken from those conversations and adapted from those conversations. So this is an example of an answer to the why do you care about increasing arts funding in this year's budget, right? Over the past year, I've struggled with anxiety and depression. Going to class and completing schoolwork has been nearly impossible. Without band to lift me up and get me excited, I don't think I would have finished this year, right? Again, this third question, the why do you care? Why is this important to you? Is probably the most important part of your public comment. It's about your story, it's about your experience, and it's about making sure it's personal and specific. The fourth question you need to answer in order to craft a really effective public comment is, why should everyone else care? Right? So you've talked about why you care, why this is important to you. This is about the story of your community. It's about almost zooming out from why this is important to you to why you know this is important to other people and how you see it's going to impact other people in your community. So you want to think big picture, right? An example of what this might sound like: I know I'm not the only one. My friends and peers need support after this year of isolation and remote learning. If we don't act to make sure students have the arts to motivate them, I know we will see many students drop out and not graduate. This is about the future of our community, right? Again, so just zooming out and talking about why everyone else listening should care. And then lastly, this is the last piece of an effective public comment. The final question you need to answer in order to create a really effective public comment is, why is this important now? Right? It's very easy for leaders to say, oh, this is a great point. Thank you so much for speaking out. And we'll talk about this at our next meeting, in next year's budget. We'll talk about this in 10 years. And we need to make sure we're making it clear, no, this needs to be addressed now. It's really urgent and it's really important, right? So you want to also link back to your ask, right? The question number 2 that you answered in crafting your public comment, and you need to make it clear why this is timely. So an example of what this might sound like: I know you are working hard to complete this year's local control and accountability plan by the end of the month. I urge you to act now to increase funding for arts education so every student has the opportunity to heal and thrive. Thank you. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. You're just trying to make it clear that this is urgent now, and you're linking back to your ask to reiterate what you want the school board to do. What action do you want them to take? And it's always nice to end with a thank you. Thank you for your time. And that's it. Those are the 5 steps of crafting a public comment, right? So your public comment, you answered those 5 questions, you're prepped, you're ready to go with that public comment. What's up next, right? So now we're going back to, okay, you need to make a plan to speak. And what do we mean by that? When we say make a plan to speak, what we're saying is just basically you've done all that work, right? You found out the date, the time, you opened the agenda of your school board meeting and found out that you need to email someone at 3 p.m. on the day of to make sure you're signed up to speak. What you need to do here now is make sure you know exactly what device you're going to be logging in from. You need to know where you're going to be to make sure there's going to be internet, right? Or cell coverage if you're doing it from a phone. You need to know that you have an alarm on your phone or on your calendar to remind you that you need to speak at this board meeting. Maybe it's a note on your refrigerator. Maybe it's a friend who reminds you of some parts of your schedule that you forget. Whatever it is, however your schedule works, you need to make sure you have a clear plan, that you are in a place at the right time where you can make public comment, where you can tell your story, where you can make your voice heard. So after that, step 4 is easy, right? You made the plan. Now you just gotta let it play out. You gotta show up, right? You show up to the meeting with your prepped public comment ready to go. And step 5, you give your public comment. Straightforward, right? You've done all the work. You're ready to show up. You tell your story. You take action, right? That is the final step. Taking action and then staying involved. So you give your public comment, you take a deep breath, and then hopefully you email me and we talk more about how you can get involved in the movement for equitable arts education for every student across LA County and beyond. Again, my name is Cordelia Istel. I'm Director of Organizing at Arts for LA, and please do not hesitate to reach out to me after you've given your public comment. If you want to debrief, if you want to talk about next steps, that's what I'm here to do with you. My information is here at the bottom of the screen. And I hope that you will join me in taking action, staying involved, submitting public comment at the very next meeting of the school board in your district. Thank you.